Welcome to Tamer Bowling Ball Reviews. Today we're looking at the Roto Grip Exotic Gem. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. First impressions, the Exotic Gem seems to bring back the traditional strong shiny ASIM look the Storm family is famous for, but with a decidedly Roto-specific roll. Alright, let's jump in and I'll kind of get into what I mean by that. Alright, so we have a shiny Pearl ASIM. I don't know how many times I'll say I hate the out-of-box gloss finish. It literally feels like it's only meant for shelf appeal. Now you either scuff it right away or suffer the weird over-under until you throw it for 10 games or whatever. Sean threw it a bit out of box initially and it just bears out what we always see. Very long in oil, too responsive to the friction wall of a house shot. Anyway, I'm not going to spend any more time on that. We scuff it lightly with 2000 Abralon pad to cut that shine ever so slightly, and we're now able to evaluate the ball. I've typically enjoyed the Defiant core. It's round and rolly, you got heavy rolling. You always have to match the cover finish to that core to get the best out of the shape, in terms of the condition you're on. In this case, the Micro Tracks is a pretty responsive cover added to the strong core with that scuff, and Sean rarely saw any under anymore. You can see the clean but heavy roll, and there's a good balance of length while the motor's starting to turn over, and when it finally completes a transition, you get that strong boom. It is strong, but I wouldn't exactly call it a skid flip because of how rolly it is. However, it's got plenty of pop down lane. Sean just didn't have miss room in, and that tends to mean that it's on the stronger side overall, and with the responsiveness of the cover, it just won't hold. Out was the place to go in terms of the amount of board coverage it's capable of. It places the Exotic Gem pretty clearly in the mid-define category. Now Bryan is next, and he was trying to work out what's the right play with this ball. And the first couple shots looked great, and then it was confusing. He tried to get in, slow it down, etc. It was just a struggle at first. Then, boom, he figured it out, and it was off to the races. But let me explain a little bit. Part of the issue is these very walled-up house shots, and how his game matches to it. These shiny, strong balls in mid-define category are tricky because they're too strong to play in the wall of the dry that runs to your feet, all the way to your feet outside of 8, and not strong enough when he moves into the oil. However, we were talking, and trying to figure this out, and said, like, what's the usual trick on a house shot? Well, when it dries up, do what? Throw it harder. That's what most people do. Well, Bryan decided to square back up to the right, throw it harder and more forward, and is basically throw it up 10. And this is where many lower rev bowlers live on house shots. And now, since he can get it down lane, he was able to take advantage of the ball's not only response to the friction, but also heavy roll for good carry. And seeing this can be eye-opening since we're always looking for tricks to manage house shots. Sean, Bryan, and I almost exclusively bowl sport shots, so sometimes the basic tricks to manage house shots don't come as quickly to mind. Alright, so final thoughts. Let's just recap. The Roto Grip Exotic Gem is clearly mid-define ball. Going back to my initial comments, it's a bit of a traditional strong shiny ASIM in that it has that heavy roll and strength we've come to know from balls like, say, more recently the 900 Global Altered Reality, or in the Roto Grip family, Nuclear Cell or No Rules Pearl. You have a clean cover, heavy rolling cores, noticeably strong to where if it's not matched up, you'll start to leave flat corners. It's not like that hard skid flip, it has that rolly nature. The reaction is clear that when you can't manage to get the shape to work anymore, you drop down to a mid-late ball like, say, a Night Road, a Wolverine, Dark Moss, etc. So assuming you can get past the traditional or traditionally swirly Roto Grip colors and you need a clear mid-defined shape, the Exotic Gem will fit nicely in the bag.